Well, my next guest is seated and he's ready for you. He is who? He's a literary coach. He's a poet. He's a writer. When it comes to it, both English and Chi, the way he will just mix the words and put the words together and give you an awesome performance is just lovely. He's no stranger to this show, to this set. Ladies and gentlemen, Nana Asaase. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Very well, by God's grace. How about you, Asiedwa?
I am great. I'm great. Nana Asaase, first of all, you have an event coming up. We'll definitely get there. But how do you think poetry is doing in Ghana?
How do I think poetry is doing? Okay. Good morning, Ghana. Good morning, world. Poetry seems to be getting comfortable in Ghana. And at the same time, poetry is a bit distressed in terms of it needs more mileage.
Okay.
Yes, so if poetry was a politician, it would want to conquer more constituencies and make more people aware of his presence. So poetry is gradually on the ascendancy. People are coming to the consciousness of the art in its varied forms. Look, you can't put poetry in one box.
Yeah.
There's so many different facets of it. People are doing poetry without even knowing that they're doing poetry. But by God's grace, gradually people are realizing that, hey, they have the gift of poetry. Because the gift of poetry would sanitize our language throughout whichever sphere we find ourselves, political, social, religious circles. Poetry is, I call it the elevated tongue. It cleans our language up. And gradually, the art form is gaining its grounds in this country.
So whose fault is it?
Whose fault?
Does it have to do with the poets? Does it have to do with the listeners? Does it have to do... What exactly is missing?
Okay, so I won't blame anybody. It's a case of people not knowing what the art form is, people not really having interest because of the academic way in which it was introduced to them. So people do not know that this is what poetry is or this is what the art form is. People do not have too much interest because of the way it was supposed to have been introduced to them.
Okay.
Do you get my point? 3, people might not even see the viability. When we talk about viability of anything in this part of the world, people are thinking immediately of money. No. But what are the uses of the art form? What are the the employees that you can put this art form to? Well, including pecuniary interest. Of course, poetry will bring you some money.
Yeah.
But beyond money, the impact it can make, the impact it will make. With the equivalent of soccer, look at the way soccer brings people together.
Yeah.
Poetry has the capacity. Poetry has done it. Poetry is still at work doing these things. Poetry is employed in various facets, from politics to advertising to religious circles, in the realm of education. Poetry is used to push social causes. And so I feel it's these two things. Third, on the part of the poets, everything comes with consistency. Everything comes with practice. That is the only way you come to be good at anything. Practice, practice, practice. You practice your opening line sometimes in front of your mirror.
Yeah.
True?
Yeah.
Not true? Good.
True.
So before you come on set, you would have put yourself in a certain frame of mind.
Yeah.
And so I encourage my fellow poets, my young poets who are coming up, please practice, practice, practice. You're never too old enough to be a poet. You don't need to have studied literature. You don't need to have studied anything in the literary to be a poet. It's a skill that can be developed. It's a skill that can be learned. And it comes with consistency.
So for people who come to your shows and, are thrilled by you, would you say they are more inclined when you do these poetry in English or more in the local dialect?
Mixed.
Mixed.
I face audiences which are not even Ghanaian, yet they prefer the poetry which is performed in the mother tongue.
Really?
Or they don't understand it, but they can connect with the energy of the performance. So they walk up to you and they are like, thank you very much, that was beautiful. Oh. But you realize that the blend brings out the beauty of it, in the sense that when you walk into a room filled with French, Francophones, and you speak at least just a line of French, just a word in French, you spoke in their language, everything else you say will be accepted. Because when you speak a man's language, you speak to his soul. However, even if you decided to perform in your language, like the way Angelique Kidjo would sing in her mother tongue, Uyala would sing in her mother tongue, fantastic. It is beautiful. It is the spirit of the performance that needs to be carried. That is what is built by consistency. The more you master something, you come to own the spirit of it. It becomes you. When you are in that space, you show it off. Yeah. That has been the weight of the matter for me.
So when you are getting ready to go on stage, what are the things that you put into consideration before you get on stage?
Okay, there's something you call audience research. I teach my students all the time. So audience research would say, okay, per little than others have done. Who and who will be there? So you know what to say, what not to say.
Yeah.
How can I throw them off balance? They are probably expecting A. How can I give them F?
Okay.
Miles away from what they expect. 3, how do you engage your audience? How do you rope them in? When the performance is coming out, like in a typical African setting, then they enjoy it. Somebody might be meeting poetry for the first time.
Yeah.
So it's how you present it. It's not what you do, it's how you present it. That is what will rope them in. And so how do you employ other art forms? Because nobody stands alone. So I'm coming to perform poetry.
But how would you get to know all these?
How do you get to know all these? Well, before you walk into your own show,
yes,
I know this is a direction. I've taken my time to chart out a map of where I'm taking you to. So typically my shows don't have an MC. We're not coming to do this one. It flows like a whole production. So even if an MC comes in at any break, it seems it's a very seamless.
It's fluid.
Very fluid.
Okay.
I would like to always have a Ghana bar at my events where I have my communion wines, present. So that while the service is going on, you take a little communion and then you walk into the service. You have the liberty to move. When the troupe is dancing, everybody is on, we are dancing, we are experiencing these things. So it's not just a lion. It is engaging, it is performance. Even when the person is reading, you feel the energy in what the person is delivering to you. Because you see, time is a portion of somebody's life.
Yeah.
Once given to you will never be regained. So for somebody to want to spend time with you, it had better be worth
Make
their
it
while.
worth it.
Very important.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you have prepared and your art has spoken to you, just like a preacher going to deliver a message, then it will definitely reach your audience.
Some time ago, I interviewed some young poets, upcoming poets, and I asked them to do something.
Okay.
And they are so confident about their craft, super confident about it. But when you listen to them, you can tell there is something missing.
Yeah.
But you can't really pinpoint exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But I wonder why it's in the name saying this. I don't know if you understand what
I get what you mean.
Because he's so confident in his craft.
Yeah.
All King and the war, their mannerisms and everything just proves that they are super confident about what you're doing.
Stuff.
But there's always something missing.
Definitely.
Especially with these young ones. So aside they being consistent in practicing, what other thing do you think they can do to improve on themselves?
There are always people who have gone ahead of you. Approach them, learn, make time. People want to hide behind your phone screen. No, I want to learn, I want to do this. When you put a proper sitting, people, let's attend this event, let us learn. People will not show up. We need to learn. We need to have conversations with people who have gone ahead. Let me give you one of my tricks. It's not a trick, it's an open thing. From the late Professor Kofi Awuno, he has commented on my work. Professor Atukwe kind of late as well, commented on my work. I studied with Professor Kofi in the hotel now. From time to time I visit.
Okay.
Yeah. They watch my work on TV. They're like, no, I saw this. Could you add this? Next time don't do this. Next time don't do. People are constantly critiquing your work.
Even with how you seem to be an expert in this
always
field.
critiquing my work. You have to be your best critic. Do you get my point? People have gone ahead of you. And so you should always seek to learn. 2, sit down and watch people do the things you do. Spend more time watching others than when you are on stage. Spend time. And watch. You would realize that somebody is doing something similar to what you're doing. Or still like an artist. Pick a bit from there, pick a bit from there, pick a bit from there, pick a bit from there. I listen to different radio stations. English, the languages I like to speak, the kind of things I like. Those who are playing music, those who are talking politics, you definitely hear a line, an expression, somebody has used it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Get into quality movies. Some lines you pick, some songs you pick, some inspiration that will hit you. It's very important. And then, take note. Nobody knows it all. Nobody knows it all. Nobody knows it all. So consistently, find out what is going on around the world. But above all, what do you want to project with your art?
Right.
What do you want to project? Have you seen Def Jam poets, just dropping their punchlines, so you also want to get on and drop your punchlines? Who is your audience? What is your constituency? What is the specific audience you are looking to reach? What language can you use to reach them? And then look at the bigger picture.
Right.
This thing I've started, am I able to sustain it? Am I sure the interest will be there? Am I sure this is something I'd like to do, even if I'm not getting the platforms, even if I'm not getting paid? Was this something I'd like to do? And then you should know yourself. Man, know yourself. There are certain platforms you might not be ready for. The platform might swallow you. The stage might swallow you.
Right.
All of a sudden you are thrown in front of a 5,000. It can overshadow you.
Yeah.
You need to do a lot of these mind exercises to keep yourself calm. But before all these opportunities come, practice, practice, practice. Be open to criticism. If you're not ready for criticism, don't write. Don't put it out there. So you get me?
Yeah.
So I spend quality time having conversations with the old folks who have gone ahead, who are still alive. Professor Lade was on, for instance. He has accepted to be on my show. How do you catch the whole Professor Lade was on, if you know who I'm talking about, to be on your platform? It simply means you have built that relationship.
You've built that relationship.
So you can take your work, go to this person, have them look at it, have them critique it. And a lot of the action takes place off stage than it does on stage. Your research, what feeds the content that you're putting out there. You might listen to somebody, very flowery language, point lines and all of it, but what am I really taking home?
So do you see them hungry enough?
People might be hungry, but for what? Someone is hungry for the attention. Yeah, my flow is tight. I've bent the mic, I've done this. No. There's a bigger picture than that. But of course, it's a state to be cleared. There are different stages that you need to deal with to get there. And so if you're really hungry about your art, it's not being in front of the camera. It's not being in front of the camera. To ensure that when you're in front of the camera, your delivery is good, before you get in front of the camera, make sure you face the mirror. The mirror reflects you. The camera is a prism to refract you to the world. And so before you face the prism, please spend time with the mirror. Reflect. Go over your work. Make sure you're getting it right.
Where do you see poetry in 5 years in Ghana?
Where do I see poetry in 5 years?
Here in Ghana.
Poetry is like time. It's timeless. It will always be here.
It will always be here.
Who is coming on? What are they doing with it? As a nation, what are we choosing to do with poetry? I hope that in 5 years...
Have we invested enough, though?
I think with time we will. We will realize the power that it wields.
What is making us not invest? Because...
See, we do not realize that a mate who is calling the various stops, calling for money the way he's demanding it, is poetry. We do not realize that when you're in the market bargaining tomatoes with a woman, and you mean to mean the so language being Charlie, listen to the rhythm. I got something trotro music. When you sit in a trotro, look, pay attention. I don't know the last time you sat in a trotsky. Once a while I take a good trotsky.
Okay.
Sit in a trotro, listen to the way the windows rattled.
Yeah.
The engine. Right there in the car, I'm listening to rhythm, and then the music like Charlie, wole. Look, listen to the arrangement. The beauty of that moment. So in every moment you're trapped, there's something to capture. There are stories to be told. There are realities to be experienced. And so we should, in learning to tell our own stories, there are so many other ways to do it, but poetry is also one of the most beautiful ways to tell our stories as a people, of carrying on our history, of carrying on our experiences to the next generation, to other people, with other cultures, to realize the things that we have. Poetry is one of those. It's not the only way, but poetry is one of those beautiful ways to do it. In the next 5 years, I hope by then we'll have a national poet laureate. In the next 5 years, maybe we'll have a good academy where young people can get into. In the next 5 years, I'm hoping a lot more media platforms would have made that space for poetry. You realize that when someone is a poet, they are not just in a box. Here we like to box you as a poet. By virtue of somebody being a poet, it simply means they think a lot. They're very critical thinkers. Right. They are powerful public speakers. Simply means that they are good conceptualizers. They can create very good concepts. And trust me, they can teach you to speak. They can do so many things by virtue of being in the practice of poetry. So please, my poets need to be versatile. It's not just about putting some words together, memorizing, getting on stage, delivering that. Look, hone your craft and milk it. It's a wide range of things.
Right. Nana Asaase, you have an event coming up. Let's talk about it.
I have an event coming up.
Yeah.
So, Nana Asaase and Friends. Last year I was here for a show, 11th November.
Yeah.
This year is 30th of June, the second edition of Nana Asaase and Friends. So typically my shows have just my poetry being performed. But Nana Asaase and Friends invite some of my creative friends as well to show you. So
last year was Nana Asaase and Friends, but this is Nana Asaase and the Big Six.
So Nana Asaase and Friends. The first one was Nana Asaase and the 12 Disciples.
Aha.
This is Nana Asaase and the Big Six.
Okay.
Still under Nana. So the event is
Nana Asaase and Friends.
But Nana Asaase and the Big Six.
Okay.
So I invited 6 of my creative friends to join me.
Right.
You know, in delivering very beautiful things, from poetry to storytelling. We have music, we have comedy, we have traditional music, dance, we have palm wine music, and of course we have our Ghana bar set up.
Okay.
So I have Professor Ladewo Sonu, the poet surgeon. I have Dr. Sarah Dogwaji, head of Department of Theatre Arts, University of Ghana. I have Stephanie Ampofo. I have Poet Pobi, he's coming all the way from Tamale. I have Fapimpong, and I have Slim One. Slim One is the biggest amongst us, but he's slim.
Okay, slim.
I have Chemical the comedian. I have Ruth Black of Mentor One fame. I have Nenena. I have Hashmula. I have the Otonkroa and Sambu. Don't ask me. And then I have Kwampa. So in one night, we're bringing you this
on the 30th of June.
30th of June on Friday. So you realize that 6 other people and then 6 people who are doing the word, and then 6 who are giving us music and its variations.
Okay.
And then we are setting up our Ghana bar.
Okay.
If you've ever come for any of our events, we have a place where the cultural troops play. Different dances from different parts of Ghana.
Right.
Come and see these things being displayed. But of course, the Big Six will be there in being embodied, because we're having this in the gallery of the National Museum.
Oh, okay.
The gallery of the National in Adabraka. I think we are the first to do this in a long while.
Okay.
So the Big Six will be there in person.
Okay.
They're already in the museum. On the 9th, they'll be there in person.
Right, okay. Nana Asaase, thank you very much. And so make sure that you are there. Nana Asaase and the Big Six on the 30th of June. Time again?
5:30 start work.
5:30. 5:30 p.m. at the National Museum Gallery inside Adabraka.
Can I do something quickly? If you want to be there at the event, a single ticket is 100 cedis. Okay. For couples, it's 180.
Okay.
Students with an ID, that's 80 cedis.
Okay.
If you have children coming in, that student ticket of 80 will accommodate 2 children. Okay. We want to ensure that the children can also attend. So one ticket of 80 will take 2 children. Okay. Students with ID, 80 Ghana cedis, 180 for couple tickets, and
100 Ghana cedis. And as I say, thank you once
Thank you so much for having me. I look to be back soon after Nana Asaase and Friends.
Can't wait to have you again.
I'll be so